everybody, and welcome back to Rise of the Podcast. I am Jeremy.
I'm Kara.
I'm Keith.
And I'm Brownie.
Woohoo! So Chris is here today. I just called him Chris. We talked about, is he Chris? Is he Brownie? Nobody knows.
It's veiled in mystery. Ooh.
So we've had Keith on before, but we're really excited because you're getting close to your movie coming out.
I'm getting there. An inch at a time.
So last time we talked about just a little bit about couldn't talk much about the movie, but there's a trailer out now.
Yep.
And I love it. And the trailer's had a lot of good positive feedback. Yeah. You've been interviewing all over the place. It's been really fun to watch that. Mm-hmm. But when's the movie going to premiere?
So the movie premieres March 1st, 2020 at 1 p.m. at the Cinema in downtown Duluth. So it'll be a theatrical screening in a real movie theater with movie trailers and the whole deal. So it's going to be really cool. And the movie's called Gravedigger Dave's Halfway House.
So I can't wait. It's 3/1/1. 20, the date 3/1/1. It's on the first at 1.
Yep,
it's fun.
I really wanted to get Leap Day, but I just couldn't secure the theater for that day. It would have been super cool to be like, hey, when's your movie? Leap Day.
That would have been cool.
It didn't work out.
That way, when its 1 year anniversary would be 4 years later.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's been 1 year, 4 long years ago.
It's kind of like how they trick opening weekends to be 6 days long now.
Oh, by releasing movie on Tuesday night.
Yep.
It keeps going.
So it's in the first year it earned $20 zillion.
Yeah.
Because it was 4 years.
Yeah.
So getting just me up to speed personally too, and for anybody who's watching, have you ever released a movie before?
No, this is really going to be my first feature film. I did one film festival screening that was kind of a compilation of 5 television episodes that I had directed. That was called Night at the Armory, and it screened in 2018 at Duluth Superior Film Festival.
Was that horror as well?
No, that was actually, it was a music series. So we had local musicians play at the old Duluth Armory. So there was Charlie Parr and Superior Siren and Ingeborg Von Agassi, a bunch of local musicians. Cool. All folk music. And they just did live performances and interviews. So that was 5 episodes on Duluth CW, and then cut that down into a kind of feature film length, like an hour 15, hour 20 minutes.
Cool.
But that was just a one time only thing. So this is really my first feature film that I will release out into the world as a feature film.
Exciting.
It's very exciting. It's
when did you come up with the idea to do this?
I mean, that's a hard question to answer because I made my first paranormal short film in 2014. And at the time I was like, I'd really like to make a whole bunch of short films that can work as an anthology film. An anthology film being a bunch of short stories that are connected through some kind of wraparound or some kind of host or something like that.
That's awesome.
At the time, I did not have the concept for Gravedigger Dave. I had a concept that I ended up throwing in the garbage because it was no good. But just kind of kept chugging along doing paranormal shorts about ghosts and hauntings, knowing that at some point I'd find a way to tie everything together. And in 2017 or 2018, I came up with the concept of Gravedigger Dave, shot a short film that also screened at Duluth Superior Film Festival and on TV on Duluth CW, wrote a grant, which I luckily got from the State Arts Board.
That's cool.
And now doing the feature.
That's really cool. That's awesome. I want to come back to that grant process later on, just because that's really interesting to me. But being that, we started in May, and Chris and I have been just doing silly, fun videos for a long time. And I never thought making a film or even doing anything like this was in the realm of possibility. But that's what's kind of fun is you get a bunch of people together, and when you put your minds to it, you can really make fun, cool content. And so Chris is really, I've done photography for such a long time. I've never really made that jump into the the world. Sure. But seeing and getting to know you and talking with you, it's this seems like something, if you have a dream, if you have a dream that you want to try to do something like this, you're breaking down that entry barrier and making it seem plausible, which is really, really cool. And so it's it inspires me to want to I don't know if I could do a full movie yet, but doing a short production or a short thing, and it seems plausible now, and it's really cool. So it's fun to learn, how you got there. And,
yeah. Well, I mean, seeing your guys' music video, the music video, you guys you guys are ready to do it for sure, because that looked amazing. But
Give me a choreographer next time, though, please. Oh my
oh
gosh.
no, I thought it was cool. I thought it was really cool.
From now on.
I'm only flossing.
I loved it. But so yeah, I mean, as a kid, I had already been or always been interested in movies and sequential storytelling and comic books and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the movies, it always seemed like this thing that was very far away, like this thing that George Lucas did. And,
Right.
George Lucas has this like kind of godlike quality,
right?
In many people's minds, mine included.
I was gonna say ours. Yep, we're right there.
Right. So film directing, it's always like been this thing where it's like, how do you even do it? But then around the time I moved to Duluth, I'd already been working in television for a lot of years.
Right.
But I started meeting all these different people that had all these skill sets in different areas. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh man, like this person is really great behind the camera. Ben Reed, who shot my first film, Boots.
Cool.
And I was like, he's really great behind the camera. I know this guy who really looks the part of the character. Mm-hmm. I know this other person who's good with lights and sound. So I was like, if I could just assemble all these other people who know what they're doing and just write a halfway decent script, we can get a short film done.
That's so cool.
And so that's, it was like meeting people who have skill sets in different areas that gave me the confidence to be like, all I have to do is gather everyone together and be like, this is the project.
Right.
So
that's really neat.
Yeah.
On an average like take or scene, how many people do you think were on set?
It varies a lot because some of the narrative stuff, narrative being a movie like Star Wars, where there's a script and characters, probably max was 10 people on set, including actors and crew.
That's really
people
cool.
That do lighting and camera. There's a lot of sections of Gravedigger Dave's Halfway House that are documentary. In fact, the majority of the movie is documentary. And that stuff requires a lot less in terms of crew. A lot of times it was just me and the person
that's really cool.
interviewing.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
And shooting that way is a lot more freeing, because
right.
you can just kind of roll with it and see what happens. And then you shoot B-roll, which are the cutaway shots during the interview.
Yep.
And, you just like find a cool moment and catch it on camera, as opposed to following a script, which is very, you have to be very pragmatic about it.
Right.
We've got all these people assembled. We've got this much time. We got to get through this many pages of dialogue and
crazy. Let's
get it done. So yeah, documentary is it's a lot more freeing in a lot of ways.
And so you have a full-time job. So you have to do all of this in your free time.
Yep.
Which is crazy. And that's what we all go through too. It's like, okay, when can we shoot this? When can we do this thing? And it's working around those schedules and doing it. But when you're passionate about it, you make time to do it. So it's been cool that you set aside time to do that. So you had the idea, you realized that you had a bunch of people that you could get together and start getting work done, but you needed, some money to do that. Right. So that's where grants and stuff come in. And a lot of people, I think it's a big untapped resources for a lot of people. There's grants for, like historical buildings and grants for artists and singers and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool that Minnesota had one is it for filmmaking or for the arts in general?
Yeah. So it's through the State Arts Board. I guess I'm really only familiar with the side of it that has to do with filmmaking, but I believe they fund all kinds of art projects from live performance to fine arts. So really anyone who's interested in creating stuff and making stuff should look on the State Art Board's website.
So why haven't we tapped into this resource?
Well,
you never know.
You never know.
Maybe they can fund our Lego.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Lego should fund our Legos.
I mean, yes, but.
No, I mean, you guys are artists. You guys are creating stuff.
Right.
And that's what it's there for.
Right.
I highly recommend writing a grant to anyone who's working in any kind of creative endeavor. For me, I was like, whether I get the grant or not, this has been the most valuable process because it forces you to boil down your project into a form that makes it presentable to other people,
right?
And really get detailed about why you're doing what you're doing.
Right.
So, I had done some paranormal short films and I'm like, well, I'd like some funding. How do I go about it? Let's go to the State Arts Board. And then when I looked at their requirements, I had to really think like, why would people care? Mm-hmm. Or how can I turn what I'm already doing into something that somebody else might care about? And the answer to that was, how about I explore real ghost stories and things that are important to the culture and the history of northern Minnesota, St. Louis County specifically. And so just coming up with that idea, because I had to write the grant, I would have tried to make the movie even without the grant. But I came to a much better version of the movie because I sought funding.
Right.
Totally. So here's it's Christmas time. It's, the holiday season. people, there's a lot of, holiday parties and Christmas parties and everything going on. So, you like, I got introduced to Kara's coworkers, and I got introduced to Kara, got to see people that I work with. And one of the fun topics is talking about Duluth. People default to the weather and things like that.
Sure.
So listening to all these conversations, when I broke the ice with some people I hadn't met, and vice versa with Kara, we've been talking about like cool facts and things about Duluth. And whenever I hear cool facts, like, people really love the city, as for what it has to offer. It's a great outdoor city. It's got, a beautiful port and harbor, and it's like
the world's largest lake.
It's got a lot going for it. The Irving and all these fun places, the trains, there's so much cool stuff. So when I hear people talk about that, I'm like, hey, you should check out this movie that's going to be coming out, because it covers Duluth. And I think that's going to have a nice appeal to a lot of people. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be really, really fun.
Thank you. And all the stuff you guys mentioned, like the lake, the train museum. What was the other? You just mentioned something. The Irving.
Yeah,
all these things are in the movie, and more that maybe not everybody knows about.
Right.
The North Shore Theater's in there. Nopiming. So it's it's got a lot of different people that if you're in Duluth, you might even recognize some of these folks in the movie. A lot of locations that maybe you think you know some of the history of, but you don't know all the history of.
Right.
So I think it's going to be interesting.
Would this be good? Would we? This is just me now, just in the spur of the moment. Should we show a bit of the trailer in the podcast?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So okay, so now for everyone's viewing pleasure, here's a portion of, or maybe the whole thing of the trailer for Gravedigger
Dave's Halfway House.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Oh, hi, I'm Gravedigger Dave. I'm gonna have to tell you a series of stories. You need to tell me whether the story is true or whether I've made it up.
I don't feel so easy in your house. How do you explain that?
When she looked back, the little girl was no longer there.
Like, what was that?
I woke up in the morning and I had a cut on my neck.
So if something's happening in your house and you can't explain it, you need somebody to help you.
All right, well, that was what a trailer. I can't.
So fun.
That's going to be such an awkward cut for the audio version, because it's not going to be in the broadcast or in the audio only thing. Because why would you just have weird random sound, right?
But for the audio version,
sure.
we can just put a link in the link.
I was
Yeah, but they're going to get literally what we just did, which was wait for a second and then go right back into talking.
And why aren't you guys watching our faces? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
For the audio listeners, we have so many more cameras now.
Yes, we do.
We had way too many to begin with, and now it's just it's me surrounded by 5,000 cameras.
Yep.
I still have to post more behind the scene pictures at some point. This is a little bit of a tangent, but did Chris tell you the fun story when we were at GalaxyCon meeting John DiMaggio, the voice of Bender?
I think you did.
I brought it up. I don't know how much I talked about.
It was just funny, because we went up to the lady at the counter, and I'm like, hey, they don't want pictures taken in the area because you pay for a picture with the celebrity.
Right.
And so I was like, hey, we have a cameraman following us around today, and he's taking video. Is it okay if he shoots him doing an autograph and selfie with us? And she goes, why do you have a cameraman? Are you famous? I was like, no. We just have a podcast. She's like,
Jeremy says no, and I look at him like, at that point you say, yes, we are famous. You don't know us?
It's like Ghostbusters. If somebody asks if you're a god, you say yes.
Right? You missed it, Jeremy.
I'm glad you were right there.
Ship had sailed.
I literally said that the day of, too. I was like, it's Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So that was pretty fun. But we met a lot of great people. And again, it's... when we went to the Star Wars celebration, people did interviews with Kara, and I've really come to have a fondness in my heart for filmmaking and cinema in general. Making videos is really a lot of fun, and I can just name off the top of my head some shorts that Chris and I did that were just unbelievably silly, and this is what we did with our free time. We did The Birdman. It was about a superhero who was basically homeless at a park, and he would come and save the day, and we'd use the birds.
Who was dressed up as Birdman?
I was Birdman, and Chris was the villain.
The Harvey Birdman, attorney at law kind of look.
This is pre that existing too. We were still in high school, I think.
I can imagine you guys just raided Michael's, got all their black boas and stuff.
Nice.
That's pretty much what it was.
I was wearing a garbage bag with an eye patch and a fake beard.
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember? Okay, Chuck Norris came out with the Total Gym.
No.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so it's an inclined board, that slides back and forth on it's almost like a camera rail system, or like a cine slider, but adult sized.
Yeah.
And so you'd
and then it's all
your
tension
body
pulleys,
weight.
yeah.
Yeah. So you'd sit on the board, and when you'd like pull, you'd go up and down.
I remember this.
It's
Yeah.
a Chuck Norris Total Gym. And so in the opening scene, I'm laying on this total gym with it in the elevated position with my sister like holding tension up, and I get the phone call that they need help because of course I'm homeless, but I have a cell phone. And so I'm like, Janae lets go of the cord, and I slide down the ramp, and I like spring up. And I'm like, on my way. You know,
Wow.
it's just like this silly
Why
fun
haven't
stuff.
I seen this?
No one will ever see it.
No one will ever see it.
There's lots of terrible things.
Okay, here's the thing.
Oh.
I think we should do a thing where once we hit 1,000 subs, we
Just
release one of these videos.
I would love that.
We should do the Nutcracker video.
We have the Nutcracker video.
That was a school project.
That was a school project. We redid the monkey trials with nutcrackers. We
Honey crackers.
we did. Chris forced me to do honey crackers, where I dumped honey all over my face.
If you look at if somehow you find my Facebook page, if you go through my photos, there's a still from that shoot of Jeremy looking in the camera with just honey dripping out his face, and he looks so
how
unhappy.
do you wash that out?
So Keith, you've directed, okay?
Yeah.
So Chris is directing me, and he looks at me and he goes, "You've seen infomercials, right?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Everything's over exaggerated." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Now imagine you want honey and you want crackers." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Normally you'd put the two together, but because it's exaggerated, you really want honey." So he's like, on all seriousness, he's like, "I just need you to pour this honey all over your face."
Oh my good God. I want to see this one.
Oh, it's funny.
That was on YouTube. If you search honey crackers, it shows up.
Oh no!
Oh man.
Have fun finding that, guys. Subscribe to that channel that I haven't posted a video on in 5 years.
Oh man!
I'm a little afraid of what I'm going to get if I start searching the internet.
Honey Crackers, Birdman. We did. You remember Fire Marshal Bill on SNL?
Oh yeah, of course. That was
No, that was in Living Color.
In Living Color.
That's Jim Carrey, right?
Yeah, Jim Carrey. And so I emulated him, and I did like a Safety Inspector Sam.
Ooh, nice.
And so I was like testing out this brand new slide that they greased up with Crisco. And so, it was, I was wearing sandals in the winter on Pinehurst Park Hill, which is this big sledding hill in Cloquet.
over there.
And I like fell down the hill before I could even like start the skit. And Chris is rolling the whole time. And so I'm like trying to get back up the hill, and my shoes weren't working. So I took them off and like threw them, and I was like in my socks getting traction up the hill. The whole thing's in there. Then we like slide down, and then we said, the sled has a reverse feature where we put it, we just reverse the footage and get back up. It's just funny stuff.
Special effects.
Now, Keith, do you have any videos like this?
No, not really.
You don't have any cringy videos from teenage years?
No, and in fact, I never even made stuff like this when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, I just wanted to be a comic book artist. I just go home from school and just draw. And draw. And I
Do you have any of your old drawings?
Yeah, they suck. They're so bad.
That's the thing. Like these videos.
Oh my god! I think so. What we should do is we should take a little bit of our cringiest video and your worst drawing and put them up against each other and see which people
Isn't
think
there
is
one
worse.
you're dressed up as like some medieval princess?
Thumbelina.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite videos we've ever made.
That was the first time I ever used After Effects to do the title for that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We
I
didn't need to post
Flash,
that one. So 1,000
Not the whole
subs,
thing.
guys,
Chris
that one's
and I
getting
get to be
posted.
selective on the scenes that we
No.
portray.
I think Kara should pick them.
I think
I don't think you guys get any say at all.
Oh man! And then when
I
Rent,
think everybody wants to see Chris in a dress. Just saying.
You're right.
Man, I was a lot more handsome back then.
you know
I
what you
think we
don't
all were
get-
in our teenage years. Just saying.
You know what you don't get because of Netflix anymore? You don't really get movie rentals because Blockbuster and all these movie rental places are gone, right? So we did a short skit about what happens if you don't pay your late fees at movie rental stores. That Frankie the Legbreaker comes and breaks your leg.
Oh, see, no one would get that today.
Yeah, I know. And so, Chris, you were overdue on your late fees, right? Because it
Yeah.
was David the Legbreaker.
I can't remember.
And so Chris was late on his late fees. So David worked at a video store. So we actually went in there and shot.
Ooh, nice.
And so then Chris didn't pay his late fees. So then David showed up at his house and broke his legs and ruined Chris's day. And, oh man.
Just his day.
well.
The next day, oh well. Yesterday I got my legs broken, but today I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's just a late fee. Next time, though. Next time. And so it's really fun. And so it's funny that, you we did that as kids, right? And then you grow old and you become adults. It's like I joined the military and left for training, and then things fall apart. But it's come around full circle again. And part of the other big problem is, which I've really valued, is in a couple weeks we're going to have Cinephile Studios on, another local YouTuber. It's I value the connections you make with other people, and especially when it comes to stuff like this, really in Duluth, because it seems like a lot of things people enjoy. Like Chris, you saw a guy that was shooting sports photos at a hockey game.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And it just seems like it's like a thing a lot of people enjoy, but we're all living in our own little bubbles, and it's nice to kind of like get to know other people because it's a similar hobby, and you can help each other out.
And now it's so accessible. Like you can get really high quality stuff for like $1,000, you know? Right. And that's like, it's really leveled the playing field. I feel like, you know, none of us are going to make like $1 billion movie.
No.
But all of us can make a movie that plays in a theater somewhere. Right. You know, anyone can do it. So, and that's amazing.
I think it's so cool. I think it's so
cool.
I
was in a movie once.
Tell us about it.
What movie is this?
It's called Lights Out. They recorded it back, I think, when I was 19. I played a hooker.
Oh my goodness.
Is this like a student film kind of thing?
No, they're still trying to get it into theaters. I don't know.
Oh man.
But like they put it in a few local theaters and stuff down the cities. And
what is the rating of the film? Just to clear the air quick.
I don't remember. I think it was like PG or something like that.
Okay.
Like,
I just want to hear that because there's the jokes that I'm sure Chris would be love to make. Be like, what kind of film is it? Yeah. And then you go, I'm a hooker. So I was like, well. There's the joke. So anyways, it's a G film. You just
it's
play
like
that
a PG
character.
film. No, I just kind of catcall this guy as he's walking past, you know, dressed up kind of. You know.
Well, they might have to change the title because there's another Lights Out now that was extremely successful. Yeah, from like 2 years ago. David S. Sandberg directed it.
I saw that.
It's really good.
I didn't see it, but I heard about it. Yeah.
Saw that it exists.
Well, at first I was like, man, you were in Lights Out.
Whoa, yeah,
that's a big movie.
I'm famous. Yeah. Why do you think I have a cameraman?
Would you like my autograph? Right?
Follow me around.
No, this was like 13 years ago, something like that. Man. And it was fun. It was interesting seeing all the behind the scenes stuff.
Well, how do they do there? Was it compared to like what we do
here?
Yeah.
Well, we were outside in the middle of winter on Lake Street down the cities.
Oh
yeah, you guys aren't doing that.
Gosh, no. So here's the funny thing. So I was playing the role of a hooker, and I was on the corner of like Lake Street and Hennepin or something like that.
Okay.
So like that's apparently like the hooker corner.
Where they actually go.
So
you almost made more money.
So like we had to get permission from the police, and we had to have police there.
Wow.
Just so people knew we weren't actually like.
So this was like kind of a legit movie.
Yeah, it totally was.
Cool.
Like it was a decent sized production.
Nice.
What was the plot of the film? Do you know, or do you just know?
I don't remember. Okay. It was forever ago.
It was about to.
And I was in like
with a big
one
hairy
scene.
beast, and they were going to film with this. It's a space opera.
Oh, it's not.
It's Star Wars, Kara.
Oh, get out of here.
It took me a second, but
I was like, what?
No one thought Star Wars was going to be anything when they when they filmed it.
I think like it's some sort of thing. The kids are at this camp. One kid gets lost out in the middle of the woods in the middle of winter and almost dies. And I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's been forever since I've.
So now we all have some digging to do. We've all got.
Yeah.
He's got to pull up some drawings. We got to pull up some. Of our
I was gonna say like.
I know they're around. And it's fun to reminisce too about how times have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Is because we used to film on a mini DV camera.
Yeah.
And have to firewire you'd have to capture it, play it on the camera, and then capture the video coming in from the computer.
It's kind of funny, like when you look back, because I had a mini DV camera too back in the day, and I'd like go shoot something, and you connect it to your computer, hit the play button, and be like, well, now I'm gonna go like watch a movie.
Yes.
And by the time I come back, my movie will be
finished. It's a 1-for-1.
Might be, yeah.
It's a 1-for-1 capture.
It's not even 1-for-1 really, unless you have I think it was like 2 or 3 for 1 to 1.
It would pay it back slower.
Yeah, because it's like processing it and everything, so it's going like
yeah.
Oh, gross.
And then you have one giant clip.
Yeah.
That you have to deal with. Ugh.
But so and it's funny because you were like you went to Best Buy and they didn't have the parts that you needed, but it was weird to go into a store. Like you could go to Walmart and get mini DV tapes, and I remember all of those things that I used to go do.
They used to have like a whole aisle of just the tapes. Like they had VHS tapes, they had a little guide tapes that you could buy.
I bet they still do actually.
Somewhere.
Well, I'm sure they maybe have VHS, but you think they'd have mini DV?
Maybe.
I would think they would have mini DV over VHS.
I would probably guess because do they even sell VHS players anymore?
I don't think so. I recall now reading an article sometime within the last couple of years about how the last place that was manufacturing VHS players
is now done.
Is no longer producing VHS.
Wow. I know of a movie. Oh gosh, what was it? Is it Gags the Clown? There's a semi-local horror movie that actually did a special edition release, like VHS release of their movie. And I was like, man, I wonder if these guys like did it themselves, just had, you know, a VCR connected to a computer and just hit record, or I'm like, are they going to like a VHS house that's making like custom VHS tapes for people? But I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
That is really,
it's going to be the type of thing. So records were like not a thing for what, 20 years?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, records have made a huge comeback. So who knows? VHS.
It's exactly that thing, that 20-year cycle. VHS has been out of date since 2002, though. So.
Right. Well, you're saying Chris and I are a bunch of old records. Yeah. We were a thing, and we weren't a thing, and now we're coming back again.
That's the best analogy ever.
Just a bunch of old records. That's shirt number 2. So I would have to ask Chris about what the licensing rights is. I want to make a Han Yoda-Shrek shirt, and that have be our first official like T-shirt product or whatever.
Ooh, cool.
And I don't know how the licensing works because it's really our own creation, but it's a combination of 3 other proprietary, you know, pieces of artwork. You know,
if you look at it, it doesn't look like anything though.
Right.
It's just like, what's this weird glob?
It's
so
got
like just
Yoda
only
ears,
that, you know,
Han
just smash the
outfit,
names together.
Shrek
you know,
body.
Right.
Han Yoda.
I feel like as long as you're not making $1 million, nobody's gonna care.
Right.
That's true.
We get a cease and desist. We just
we'll just call it Teespring and just get some.
And
stuff
then
going.
all of our subs are gonna riot and be like, we won Han Yoda Shrek.
right.
But that'll be the second one. Is just a bunch of old records or something like that. Just a fun record design.
One record will have Jeremy's face. One will have Chris's face.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm not going to add myself in there because I'm a year younger than you guys. So
yeah, you'll never know what it's like to be our age.
Don't say that.
So Chris and I, we've like, or everybody here, we've all had fun problems while filming. So one time we didn't start the audio recorder. One time
that video's out now. That's episodes. The Force Awakens.
Let them pick. But we've had like I've had the auto balance or the white balance set to auto on a time lapse where it would change every single time, metered, and it would always change just a little bit. So Chris was like, "You didn't set the white balance." Did you have any major setbacks or anything in your film? A funny story you could share?
I have one that I still kick myself over. So it was my first short. So you know. Everybody works full time. So, you know, we're getting together in a friend's basement after work and shooting till all hours of the night. And we have this sequence of scenes that are meant to take place on different days, right? So we put on the day 2 shirt on our actor and he does all the stuff, right? And then we move to the day 3 stuff and we shoot all the stuff and we're packing up and I'm like, we never put on the day 3 shirt.
Oh no.
And everyone just like looks at me like, you a-hole. You know, they were just it was like near mutiny. And I felt so bad because I'm like, well, you gotta come back. Cause you know, we were all by that time of the night, we were done for you know, we had to, the saving grace is that we had to return to the basement anyway to shoot more stuff.
Right.
And by the time we had to do it the next time, we had already gone through it one other time, so we were super pro at it, and we're just like, all right, let's just knock out these shots. But that was, oh God, that was one of the worst. You know, there are always like little things that go wrong where you're like, you know, I can post production my way out of this little thing, but like a bad shirt, no. Sorry.
Not doing digital shirt composite.
I'm not doing a digital shirt.
For Chris's college project, we did a really fun story where a toolbox was linked to a briefcase, and so
they were quantum entangled. So if you put something into one,
you can remove it from the other.
Oh, sure.
And
Jeremy and I starred in it.
We starred in it,
cool.
and so it was like my important information got taken with Kara or vice versa, and it was animal cracker to something about crackers, but continuity wise, because again, Chris had to work around our schedules. You know, we could only do so much on certain days. So Chris was like, had this whole continuity thing just for that exact reason.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm snapping pictures of you. And then he would text me before I left. He's like, you need this shirt with this pen in your pocket and this and this and this and this. And it's like, I would have never known about continuity, you know, stuff like that unless we did that project.
It's such a headache.
What everybody needs is Monk on the
I
mean,
God.
you guys have seen that episode, right? Where Monk is on a shoot. And he sits and he like nitpicks every little thing. Like, oh, there's a wrinkle that wasn't there before. Let's just straighten that out, you know?
It's actually, I really like when I watch a TV show that I've watched over and over again, like Friends, for instance.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I really like to watch the background and just like look for tiny little errors. Because it's like, I don't need to watch the main character. Like, I know what the plot is. I know every single line. So I'm just going to like watch the background or watch the people who don't have lines and watch them in between cuts and see all the weird little things that, you know, are not perfect. Right. But that's just, you know, if Friends can get away with this stuff, like, so can we. Because it's just like, it's the reality of like a single cam production, you know?
You got the Game of Thrones Starbucks cup. That was low hanging fruit. In the episode of The Mandalorian, I'll just say chapter 4, there's a scene where he's talking to the woman that wants him to take off his helmet. And a boom mic dips into the scene. And it's plain as day.
Really?
I can't believe I missed it.
I missed it too.
It's so funny because, you know, you think on The Mandalorian or Game of Thrones, if they noticed it, they would have painted it out.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, then you know they've got clean frames and the ability to track a composite for a half second.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But maybe just nobody noticed it until it was too late.
Yeah. Well, and that's just, it's like you can have 3 people like read a document and you have the computer spell check, which spell check won't catch wrong uses of verbs or words. Right. But it's like you can have multiple people look at it and then the second you put it out in front of mass, it's like, oh, you did this, and this wrong. It's like, how did you do that?
Well, one of my favorites from Game of Thrones is Jaime has a gold hand. And there's
spoiler. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I think everybody knows this was season 2?
Something like that.
And he goes to hug Cersei, his sister, at the end of the last episode. And his gold hand is his normal hand. And it's like, that's a huge continuity thing. Yeah. Like throughout the past 6 seasons, he had a gold hand. And finally at the very end, they decide to drop the ball on that one.
Man.
Interesting.
I actually have a fairly large continuity thing with Gravedigger Dave's Halfway House that I'm not sure if anyone's going to notice, so I'm not going to mention it now.
No, I am going to be eagle eye the whole thing.
So if I ever return to the show after the release of the movie, you guys can ask me what it is, and I'll tell you. I'm not going to tell you now, but
perfect.
It's pretty big.
Yeah. Now, if you want to try to catch the continuity here, go check out Keith's movie.
You're right. Yeah, that's the challenge to the audience.
So I was going to ask this too. Okay, so it's airing at the cinema, and it's one day only, right?
Yeah.
March 1st, and that's it. Where is it going to become? What's the release schedule after that?
You know, I would like to send it to distributors and hope that they'd care about it. But in all likelihood, you know, they probably won't. So, you know, a real release through a real distributor would be awesome. If that doesn't happen, I'm going to put it up on Amazon for rental and YouTube Red, and Vimeo also has their own kind of rental platform.
Oh, cool.
So it'll be available to the world in all likelihood after that. Maybe
That's
some
cool.
film festivals after the March 1st release. But yeah,
that's really cool. As we watched like an independent film that Sgt Stubbs, an American horror story.
Which was one year ago today.
Was it really?
It was. It popped up on my newsfeed.
Oh, wow. I love that movie.
I've never even heard of this.
It's Sgt.
So
Stubbs,
cute.
to make it very long, he's a most dedicated dog in World War One, and
most decorated war animal. Period.
In all of history, super
wow.
fascinating. He'd go out into the no man's land and signal people that were still alive to the medics, so they could actually know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
He would smell mustard gas in attacks before they would be.
Well, he saved
he
saved an entire town from getting
gassed.
And
then there was a enemy spy that was dressed as a person or whatever, and that no one knew he had infiltrated the camp. And then Stubbs walks by and knew he was out of place and targeted him and made him aware, exposed him. Yeah. And they busted him.
Wow, that's awesome. This is a documentary?
It's a cartoon.
This one, it's a family-friendly retelling of the specific dog.
Wow.
But it's a fantastic movie. And
he almost died.
They had to custom make him a gas mask and stuff like this to save his life. And,
but he's
on display at the Smithsonian.
Yeah, I was going to say he's stuffed. He's at the Smithsonian.
Wow, I got to watch this. That sounds awesome.
He's so cute.
It's really good.
It's so good.
Do you remember the movie Green Card? It's like a chick flick from the early 90s. Anyways, there's a famous actor in there. He's French. I can't look him up because I don't have access.
Was he the big French guy?
He's the big French guy. Yeah. But he's a very famous actor, and he plays a character in there. And there's a funny scene with him in Green Card where he's like, I was carrying him. It's like him and Meg Ryan, and she marries him to get him a green card. But then they end up falling in love, of course. Boring for everybody. But
that sounds like a Meg Ryan movie.
It does.
From the 90s.
The only thing that makes it not a Meg Ryan movie is Tom Hanks isn't in it. you know?
Right. Yeah.
But Tom Hanks.
It was really cute. So anyways, he's in there, and I used to watch that movie for whatever reason. I don't know. It was just funny to me.
Jeremy used to be a softie.
Yeah.
Now I have to force him to watch
he's taking notes like, how do we get a woman to fall in love with you?
Right. Yeah. Ooh, green card. That's right.
Yeah. In the early 90s when he's like 5 years old.
Yeah, right. But they have famous voice actors and stuff like that, and famous people, and it was really well done. But there was a big problem with their release. And so the movie, I don't think it was like crowdfunded per se, but there was like arts and grants, and there's all these regulations. Anyways, they had a major distributor fall through where they had to take it upon themselves to distribute the entire thing.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
And so one of the options was to just release it through Amazon.
Sure.
And that's I think that was like the first way they got it. So we just bought it on Amazon.
Right.
I don't know how hard it is to do that, but
I mean, the nice thing about Amazon still, I don't know if this will ever change, but still on Amazon, you as a filmmaker can just put a movie on there, right? Cool. For rental or for streaming. Like you can't do that for Netflix. You know, Netflix has gatekeepers and it's very curated. Right. Whereas Amazon isn't. It's just, you know, this is our platform, put your content on here if you so choose. So that's really great. For, you know, in our age, we were just talking about how like cameras are available to everybody. Right. So is distribution, which is really awesome.
Because before that'd be something you'd have to do through some sort of person, manager, you know, thing that would, you know, do it for you. But and then the other thing is like YouTube is such a big streaming platform because everybody uses it. And it's like a lot of people either have Amazon Prime or Amazon. And so it's like, it's a good place to distribute it, which is really cool.
And yeah, now YouTube has their interface. I mean, they've had it for years, but I think it's still called YouTube Red.
I think it's YouTube Premium now.
YouTube Premium, but yeah, so now you can put your stuff up there for rental if you don't want it just out in the world for free.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so it's great.
That's neat. So you've got you did all the filming. We got to see some behind this like scene stuff, or get to talk to you off camera about that, which has been really fun. You have the release coming up at the Cinema. You have distribution plans after that. What's next for Keith? Do you have anything after this now? Like what's
next is the poster. Would you guys like to see the poster?
Oh, absolutely.
We're actually this is the first time anyone except for me, my wife, and Brownie has seen the poster. We're doing the exclusive poster reveal. It's a motion poster, and I'll get that to Brownie so he can put it up full screen.
That's awesome.
Official poster reveal on Rise of the Podcast.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's amazing.
Oh, it is a motion poster. That's so cool.
It's real sick.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome.
I saw an X-Men poster years ago. It's got Wolverine and the rain was kind of hitting him. And I was like, I'm going to do something like this someday. Because I thought it was so cool.
That's super good.
So,
super good.
Yeah, that'll go up on Facebook, I don't know, a week or so after the podcast drops. So
we got a Hexagon Motion Pictures Facebook page.
Yeah, the Hexagon Motion Pictures Facebook page. So
we'll have to go check that out.
So
that's also if people want to just like follow the page or follow you. So you've got hexagonmotionpictures.com.
Yeah, I've got a .com. I've got the YouTube channel, and I've got a Facebook page.
There'll be links to all this stuff in the description if you want to check him out. He's done some cool stuff. He's got a book too.
Well, yes, but that's next fall kind of deal.
Yeah, so like in anticipation, because he's making a horror anthology film, we did talk about this briefly in the first one, but it's going to contain a whole lot of stuff for people that are interested in doing something in this sort of style. If you want to do an anthology thing or talking about horror anthologies specifically. I had the pleasure of being able to read some excerpts from it. And it was very good and I wanted more.
Brownie was actually like a beta reader.
Nice.
And yeah, your feedback was really, really helpful. So I gathered a bunch of filmmakers from around the area and I was like, please read some of this and tell me if I'm hitting the right marks. And some of them were like, yeah, and others were like, you need, maybe revise some things here and there. But feedback overall was really, really positive. Good. So
yeah, that's always a tough thing too. Is you get very like I shoot weddings in the past, and it's not like I advertise it as a business, but people say, hey, will you do this? And we come to like a middle ground, like, hey, we'll do this, but I'm always so nervous for the feedback, and it's like, you're very proud and passionate about what you do, and so it's like criticism's hard when it comes to this stuff because it's like
I like constructive criticism.
You put your heart and soul into it.
The constructive criticism is the hard part, and this is one of the best things I ever learned in any college class I've ever taken was how to give good feedback and how to take feedback well. So it's like, you can just say, it's like, yeah, I didn't like it. And that doesn't help the person at all. It just makes them feel like crap.
Right.
You know, it's like, this is what I didn't like about it. Here's my thoughts about how it could be improved. Or like, here's the picture that I think you're painting. Here's what I would suggest you get it to look more like that type of thing. Whereas like, and then on the other side, like, people are critiquing your work, not you. It's like, it's hard to divest yourself from it because you put so much of yourself into it. But it really is. It's like, it's just the thing that you made that they're saying. It's like, it just needs to be adjusted a little bit. It's not you, the person, that needs to be adjusted. It's not like, Jeremy, I hate you.
I know. Here's what you're saying. Like, here's what needs to be fixed. And I just hear, you hate me, you hate me, you hate me.
So Brownie and I work at a TV station doing commercials and marketing and stuff like that. So everything we make is subject to criticism and critique and changes that are not optional. Right. And so going through that process it's actually incredibly helpful, like, because it gives you thick skin. For me, it helped me realize that the stuff I make, even though it hurts to get the criticism, it almost always improves because of the criticism.
Exactly. That's why I like constructive criticism, because I feel like I can always be better.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And so hearing people say, tweak this, I'm like, okay, I'll do that next time, you know?
Well, and specifically in your guys' line of work, you have a fun, well, not fun, I say fun because it's cool from the outside point of view, but you are trying to make someone else's, like, they give you instructions and you have to translate them into a product, you know, or into a video or a thing.
And that's its own fun adventure.
There's communication issues, like there's all
we can talk about this a little bit off camera because I don't want to I recently had an issue where I thought I was given guidelines and I was given blueprints. There's a big difference between this is like, do something like this and to do exactly this.
Yes.
So, and it was a whole thing.
So that's always really, like, trying to learn that is always very tricky. You have to be, know how to do that. But this has been really fun. I always enjoy having you on, Keith. We didn't get to talk much about Batman. Did you see the cool Batman Lego that came out?
No,
they remade. So Lego does what's called the UCS. It's like the Ultimate Collector Series.
Oh yeah.
And they cracked into it with the Batman. So it's a couple $100 set, but it is like a 2,000 piece Batmobile.
Wow,
that's amazing.
From the 90s Batman.
Heck yeah.
I was gonna say, here's what we need to do. We need to buy it, and then we need to do a Lego build with Keith.
Oh, see, Brownie mentioned that, and I'm like, don't invite me for a Lego build. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't play with Legos.
Well, Jeremy doesn't either.
I'm gonna look like a fool.
So Jeremy will sit out, and I will guide you.
Okay, yeah. Because you guys are like expert Lego builders, or you seem like it to me.
Half of them are experts.
This half.
That's the last shoot we did is really fun. It's just, it's good. It's cool. Anyways, I love talking Batman with you. I love talking comics. I can't wait to see some of those drawings you had as a kid.
Yes.
We'll see.
If those ever come out of the
if those ever come out of the woodwork.
I will write to your wife.
She doesn't have them. You have to write to my mom.
Oh, and we know your mom's cool. So So anyways, we're so glad to have you on. Thank you for coming. And so Gravedigger Dave's Halfway House is premiering March 1st, 2020 at the Zinema, right?
Yep.
Zinema?
At 1 p.m.
1 p.m. So a time.
I'll be there.
A time where you won't have nightmares, but don't bring your kids.
Is there like a rating you'd give it?
It's PG-13. Okay. You know, there's a little bit of blood for one scene, but it goes by quick, and otherwise it's just I don't call it scary. I call it spooky.
So what you're saying is Quentin Tarantino did not direct this.
No, Quentin Tarantino did not direct this.
Oh my goodness.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for watching. Chris, you want to take us out?
Yeah, so obviously if you made it this far into the video, you probably got something out of it. We'd really appreciate it if you like the video. It shows that you support what we're doing. And comment down below. Let us know how you feel about the anticipation of Keith's film coming out. If you have any questions that we didn't get to that you want to ask Keith, like, I see him every day. I can ask him. We can do some response and stuff, and maybe do a little Q&A down in the comment section. That might be kind of fun.
That would be really fun.
That would be.
Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell if you want to get notified every time we post a new video. That really means a lot to us. It helps the channel grow. It helps guide the type of content we make. And of course,
may the force be with you.